Believe it or not, Rainbow Six Siege represents units that currently exist in reality and operations that have existed in reality, including cops. And cops in my country have become a pivotal talking point because a lot of them are basically doing whatever they want. And everybody is arguing over what exactly we're supposed to do about it, if we're supposed to do anything at all. I'm sure most of you have seen the video that has started one of the most pivotal civil rights movements in my country. There's a part in the video that I'm sure many of you have already seen. A first responder is demanding that the cops responsible for George Floyd's death take his pulse, and that never happens. Somebody within the first responder community that's comprised of cops, firefighters, and EMTs was trying to hold these cops accountable, but ultimately couldn't do anything. Is it just a race question? Well, let's talk about that. Black people join the military. Black people join the police department. They often stand at a unique crossroads in their communities because they can more properly understand the unique circumstances their community is comprised of than their counterparts who are not black. If there is a racial problem with policing in America right now, how can we identify it? Well, we have to see it. Let's say that individuals are cameras. Some people's cameras are white, some people's cameras are black. But any good photographer knows that a camera is only as good as its lens. Without a lens, the camera doesn't see anything useful. It just sees a amalgamated mass of colors and blur. Cameras have different parts. The individual components that make up the camera vary, but none of that's going to be really noticeable until a lens is put in front of it. A white camera can look at life through a white lens and will only see what that white lens will see. It will only see a certain field of view, blurriness, and sharpness in some parts of the picture. It'll only focus a certain way. It'll only change its aperture a certain way. A lens is limited by its functionality. It's just a matter of engineering. But the only way to see the problem right now is to look at it through a black lens, because a black lens is unique. It can see things in a certain way that a white lens cannot. But if I take a black lens and I put it on my white camera, my camera's still white. It's not going to see the thing that the black camera does, but it helps one see as close as they can. And that distinction is important because it is ultimately the lens that provides the picture to the camera. Again, without the lens, the camera is useless. And the argument often made is to make a super lens that can see what the white lens and the black lens can see. But that's hard to do. And even the most well-designed lens that incorporates elements of what the white and black lens can see will still, to a certain extent, however small, however minuscule, it will still see things differently than the way the black lens will. Because the black lens is just that. What does this have to do with Rainbow? Well, the Special Forces units of the world don't really discriminate because they can't afford to. The selection process is so exclusive that if you can do the job, you're in. But it's not fucking sunshine and rainbows, right? Like, the pass rate for some of these units is like 3%. If you know how percentages work, that's 3 out of 100 people. In order to get into an organization like the Special Air Service or the Navy SEALs or Delta Force, you don't just have to be a good shot. You don't just have to do a million pull-ups. You also have to be smart. And I'm not saying that Special Forces units are using diversity quotas to select applicants. But sometimes the traits of the operator, sometimes the traits of the person on the ground benefit the operation. One example consists of female engagement teams, FETs. They're very prominent in Afghanistan from Army.mil. Throughout Afghanistan, platoons of male soldiers from the Afghan and American forces conduct daily patrols. Over the course of the patrols, there always exists the possibility of encountering women, given they make up nearly half the population of planet Earth. The male soldiers are prohibited from looking at or talking to these women due to Afghan cultural norms, specifically in order to make Huffington Post writers and blue checkmark people on Twitter feel good. They made these women's teams. I'm kidding. This is an operational capacity thing that is necessary. It's not being done to make people happy. It's being done because it's necessary. Recruiting people based off of their qualifications to perform a job. Wow, that sounds really SJW to me. There was a part in my writing and Rainbow Six Siege video that a lot of people were confused about, and I was kind of disappointed that I didn't really outline it too much in detail. To reiterate, what I said was, Maestro and Alibi are both on the same team. Can we just get real for a second and just kind of stop pretending that there isn't like a really significant conservative political overlap when it comes to people involved in the military and involved in police work. Don't judge a book by its cover, but, just take one look at this dude, and you let me know. You think he's a big Hillary guy? What about his partner Alibi from Libya? Let's give you a little Italy-Libya relations history lesson. In 2009, the Italian government basically signed a treaty with Libya, basically saying, hey, sorry for the colonization stuff. That was kind of fucked up. Here's some money, and we'll do the immigrant thing not as shitty. But some people say actions speak louder than words. This treaty hasn't been followed up on in a way that's humane. Italy is still working with the Libyan government to send Libyan migrants back to Libya, which makes them often the subject of... I bet Alibi has some strong opinions about this topic. Why? That couldn't have anything to do with it. The thing about Team Rainbow is that it represents an idea. It represents the idea that a wide plethora of people from many different walks of life all coming together to try and keep less shitty stuff from happening in the world. You can't have the world's most effective crime-fighting team unless it is the most worldly crime-fighting team. It has to have the most diverse array of lenses, and those lenses have to come from all over the world and from all walks of life. Rainbow Six is not real. It's a work of fiction. It's a video game. My point is, it shouldn't matter where you are on the left or right political spectrum. It shouldn't matter where you are, culturally speaking. Everyone should be able to agree that state power that is so highly concentrated and consolidated that it actively suppresses a people's right to petition the government for a redress of grievances, when power is so consolidated that it actively suppresses a group of people, when state power is so consolidated that a cop doesn't face consequences for gunning a person down when they announce to them that they are lawfully carrying a weapon. State power is so consolidated that a group of police are allowed to break and enter into somebody's home, and when the guy rightfully grabs his gun and defends his house, he gets shot, his girlfriend gets shot, his girlfriend dies in the fight that ensues. Nobody says anything. Nothing is done. The cops get away with it because the victims were black. And if we're talking about the whole camera analogy with the black and white lens, trust me, victims of police brutality that aren't black can be seen with a black lens just as well. Feel free to disagree with the following facts. Source in the description. It's pretty simple, really. Our rights should just apply to everybody. We went to war over excess consolidation of state power across the ocean. All the racist cops, all the idiot cops, all the racist idiot cops, all the bad cops. We have to replace the bad cops with good cops. If you don't want to take it from me, take it from the guy who said, fuck the police. And famous actor. I think Harry only wants good cops on Team Rainbow. Just a hunch.